session I am going to be discuss the context free and non-context free languages model 4 of 18CS 54, going to be named as a session 5. The topic going to be covered in the subsequent discussion. Those The presentation flow as a milestones, the remarkable the stages or the steps we can the enlisted here, the variants of Turing machines. So we have discussed enough about Turing machine design, construction, the philosophy, nomenclature, and all those. So after discussing the concept called the Turing machine employability and usage of this, now we can see the variety of Turing machines which will be enlisted in the literature, especially from the prescribed books. So that could be a possible with the multiple tapes. The that what we have observed that standard Turing machine, the traditional Turing machines, the might consist of the single tape and the multiple tapes or multi tracks and so on. That is, so one such variations we can see with this the multiple tapes. That is, the multiple tapes we are going to be discuss about the concept going to with a one tape but multiple heads, with the one tape and multiple heads. So multiple tapes and with the multiple heads, with the two-dimensional tapes, with the two-dimensional tapes. So that one-dimensional tapes we have seen, that is. So non-deterministic Turing machine we also discussed, that is in length we will going to be discuss in this presentation. So generally, as we have seen that regular language finite automata is going to be accept, and the non-deterministic postpone automata going to be accept the context-free languages, and eventually the Turing machines language accepted by the A power n, B power n, and C power n such strings. That is, so going to be core portion of the discussion. So here we can observe that the consist of that variety of these Turing machines have introduced as a single tape, that is a transition delta of q comma a, right, is either a single uh, uh, triple single triple, that is a p comma y comma d, where d is a direction and that is left and right. So the y is a symbol going to be changed, the p is a present state, is not defined. Here introducing two new models of the Turing machine. So that is the first one, a Turing machine with more than one tape. Turing machine with more than one tape also. The Turing machine where delta q comma a, that is a p1 comma y1 comma d1 for Turing machine. That is, so we can have that delta comma q comma a, that is equals to p1 y1 d1, p2 y2 d2, p3 y2 d3, so on. That is p pp yp dp, right? So the p times going to be the consider this number of transitions in this variants of Turing machine. The first model is called a multiple tape, that is a multiple tape, more than one tape, that is a more than one tape will be accommodated here. So that is a multiple tape. The second is a non-deterministic Turing machine. Second one is a non-deterministic Turing machine, that is. So variants of the Turing machine continuation, that is a multiple tapes. It consists of finite control with the k tapes. Multiple tapes. So how many tapes? K tapes. K is a positive integer, finite value, and it consists the finite control going to be considered, that is heads and k tapes, each input infinite in both directions. So k tapes are there, but length is infinite. On a single move, depending on the state of the finite control and the symbol examined by each of the tape head, the machine can change the state, right? So it depends on the this scanning or inputting the input symbol, that tape movements can change the state, or to display the that new symbol on each cell examined, right? So that display that symbol and move the head by changing the states, so that can go to be accommodated here with the one tape but multiple heads, right? With the one tape, the multiple heads. So the k head Turing machine has fixed k number of heads, right? K head will be there, so k number of but only one tape, that only one tape will be there, multiple heads will be there. In the previous case, that k tapes will be there, only one head will be there. So that is going to be achieved. Move of Turing machine depends on the symbol scanned each head. Head can move right or left or stationary. So three possibilities are there. The movement of head depends slow depends upon the which symbol going to be scanned by the particular each head. So that is going to be considered here. So continuation of this, the multi-dimensional Turing machine. Multi-dimensional. Earlier that is a one tape and multiple heads. Then converse, the multiple heads and one tape. So it has finite, multi-dimensional Turing machine, that is, so finite control, but the tape consists of k dimensions array of cell, infinite in all 2 power k directions. So the k dimension array will be the array of cells will be infinite in all directions, that 2 power k directions. So depend on the state and the symbol is examined or test, the device changes the states and display that new symbol, right? Depends on this current state and the symbol going to be considered. So and move its to tape head in one direction, one of the 2 power k direction. So there is a bunch of directions are there, so those are 2 power k directions. So among 2 power k directions, one directions will be considered for this tape head movement. So that is a multidimensional, either positively or negatively along 1k types, positively or negatively along the 1k axis, that is actually positively or negatively, or that is not off, it is r along 1k axis. So non-deterministic Turing machine. In the Turing machine, for a given state and tape, symbol scanned for scanned for by the tape head, the has a finite number of choice for the next move. The each option consists of the new state. Every option yield with a new state. So that tape symbol to be displayed, and direction of the head motion also going to be considered here, right? That new state, display of the symbol, new tape symbol, and direction of the head. So these three components going to be become option here. So multiple tape Turing machine that consists of n number of tapes, has a finite set of q states, has a finite set of q of states will be there. So an initial state q naught, a subset f is a final state, subset f of q called the set of final states. A set p of tape symbol, p set of tape symbol, a new symbol b not in p called a blank symbol, right? So new symbol b but not in the p called a blank symbol. Assume that the sigma, it is a inputs for this machine, or the subset of the, that is a lambda, is a tape input symbol, tape symbols, that is a subset of that. And also the blank is not belongs to sigma, not is blank is not belongs to sigma. Sigma is a the general input for the machine, right? So that is not belong to that set, right? So that is a set P of symbols going to be defined. There are k tapes. K tapes are there, each divided into cells, right? The first tape holds the input string W, right? So first tape will be k tapes are there. W string will be present at the first tape. Initially, all other tapes holds the blank symbol. At the beginning, all cells of that tapes who accommodate the blank symbol, that is the input. Initially the head of the first tape is as at the left end of the input W, that is string. Left end of the input W, it is initially first step. So all other heads can be placed at any cell. Remaining heads you can place any cell initially. So delta is a partial function, that is a q into lambda k, that is a tape symbol, power lambda power k into q into Cartesian product of the lambda power k into L comma R comma S whole power k, left, right and string, that we can also say W, that is a power k. So combination of all this, the entire combination will going to be yield the number of transitions. So these number of transitions going to be evolved here with this symbol we can notify. Here most of the time use the implementation description to define a representation with the help of this string. So we can say that the implementation part, so we can have that is a multiple tape, that is in typical move. In a typical move, so those going to be considered here. M enters a new state. M will be enters the new state. So machine M, that is on each tape a new symbol is written on the cell under the head. Each tape new symbol is will be going to be right under the read write head will be positioned. Each tape head moves to left or right or remain at the position stationary. The heads move independently. There is no restriction for the head movement. It is have a freedom to move towards left or right. Some moves to the left, some right. The remaining head do not move, that is right. So that multi head will be there. So here you can consider that multi tape will be there, and there is a finite control, it pointing to the various this one various, that is, so some move left side, some move right side, some will be remain straight. So that the exhibition going to be notice here with this diagram about this movement of the head. Initial instantaneous description has the initial state Q naught. The input string W in the first tape, that is a input tape, input string, that is a first state. Empty strings, that is a blank B in the remaining k minus 1 steps. Silly ID, that is Q naught, that accommodate the input string W in the first tape. In the first tape will be going there. The empty string of blink will be there in a k minus 1 steps. So the initial strings which will be welcoming at the first tape, the remaining tapes will be blank, that is a k minus 1 number of tapes will be blank, that is. And accepting instantaneous description, that is ID, has a final state. Some strings in each of the k tapes, that will be there. That is. So definitions we can observe here. The let M be a Turing machine and W and an input stage. W as an input string. The running time of machine on input W is the number of steps that machine takes before halting. So that is a running time. That computational aspects are the utilization of the resources for input W. The number of steps is essential before going to be stopped. So if M does not hold input string W, if not possible, if it is not halt, not stops, then running time of M on W is infinite, right? So the computational aspects will be relatively huge amount of is essential. Not only huge, it become beyond that limit, that is infinite. That is. So that is a halting problem going to be discussed in length in the subsequent sessions. So here, if it is halt, well and good, it is running time is reasonable. So otherwise, running time cost will be become huge because that it will be not able to stop or terminate or accept that. So note, some Turing machine may not halt on all inputs of the length n. Some Turing machine will not halt for the length n of the string. So, but we are interested in computing the running time only when the Turing machine halts. So that is only a benefit for the providing a solution for the problems. If the running cost is very high to become by becoming a infinite steps and all those, it is not attempting to halt, and these are all complications going to be lead to influence the running time more. So definitely. So here the we have that time complexity of Turing machine M is a function of T of n. N being a the n input size, right? So n being a n input size will be there, so that time complexity will be relatively depends upon the this input size, of course, where T of n is defined as a maximum of running time. T of n will going to be compute or assess, and it will be declare that the maximum time it is a the what we can say, that is a worst timing complexity. So the maximum time, within that time we should finish it up that job, or it will attain the halt state. So that is going to be notice here. So running time for all the inputs for the W of the size n, right? So the string size the W, that is n. So theorem we can consider to energize this concepts what we discussed that. So in order to truly witness that philosophy, so for which the theorem will be says that every language accepted by the multi-tape Turing machine is acceptable by some single tape Turing machine. Single tape is a standard Turing machine. It's a standard Turing machine. But certain language accepted by the multi-tape, this is also accepted by the single tape machine. That is a theorem going to be proclaimed here in order to support the concept of discuss that is right. So proof for this, suppose language L is accepted by the K-tape. Assume that. So language L is accepted by the K-tape of Turing machine model, right? So we simulate M with a single tape Turing machine with the 2K tracks, right? So simulate that same one with the single tape Turing machine, having exaggerated, having added the 2 tracks to that single tape, that is because we are going to be simulate that K tape Turing machine model. No? So here, so the first and third and fifth, that is 2K minus 1, the tracks holds the head marker, say symbol X, right? So that is a odd tracks going to be that is going to be 2K minus 1 tracks hold the head markers to indicate the position of the respective tape head, to identify that respective tape head will going to be considered, that is. So this going to be continue, that is a second, fourth and 2k tracks holds the contents of the k tapes. So that is a even tracks. Even tracks hold to be contains the k tapes. Odd tracks going to be holds the that is a 2k minus 1 tracks. So holds the head marker symbol x. So the odd tracks, even tracks holds the contents of the k tapes, that is. So we give an implementation narration here. The simulation of the M with a single tape, that is a Turing machine M1. Turing machine M1, that is single tape. So we give it a track per case, k is equal to 2. So here we can consider, so what we have, the multi tapes are there. So multi tapes are there. So there is a several tapes are exist here. So that finite control pointing to that. So pointing to the several tracks of the several tapes, construction can be continued to the general case. Here figure can use to visualize the simulation. So the figure shown here, so that will be exaggerate the simulation. So the symbols A2 and B5 are the current input symbol. A2 and B5 are the, A2 is here, B5 is here, are the current input symbols to be examined. So the head marker X is above the two symbols, head marker X. No? So head marker X is above the these two symbols we consider. Continuation this, initially the contents of the tape 1 and 2 of machine stored in the second and fourth tracks of the M1. First and second the tapes of machine stored in the second and fourth track of the M1. So that is the second and fourth track. So this is the first and this is second track, fourth, third and fourth. So this is a second and fourth track. The symbols going to be accommodated. So saying so, the head marks of the first and third tracks are the cells containing the first symbol. The head marks of the first and third tracks, that is are at the cell containing the first symbol. So the to simulate to move fill the 2k tracks, Turing machine M1 has visit the two head markers and store the scanned symbols in its control. So in its control going to be consider that the symbols going to be examined, keeping track of the head markers visited, and those to be visited is achieved by keeping the count will be there and storing in its finite control of M1, right? Storing its finite control of M1. So that head markers visit, and this is achieved by the having a count and storing in the finite control of the M1. Note that finite control M1 has also information about what states of the machine and its move. Finite control have memory of M1. It will have all the information, that vital information of that states, what are the states are passed, and its this moves left and right. After visiting both the head markers, so M1 knows that tape symbol being examined by the two heads of the machine. So M1 knows that tape symbols being scanned by the two heads of the machine, that is. So now M1 revisits each of the head marks, each of the second time it's going to be visit that head markers. So that is going to be continue further, that the firstly it changes the tape symbol in a corresponding track of the M1 based on the information regarding the move of the corresponding to the states of machine. So corresponding track of M1 based on the information regarding the move of the corresponding state. the tape symbol in the corresponding tape M. So that is going to be perform that. It moves the head markers to the left or right. Uh, Left or right. So M1 changes the states of M in its control. Change of state by M1 of M in its control. So this is the simulation of the single move of the machine M, right? So machine M. So at this point, M1 is ready for implement its next move. Depends on the revised position of its head markers. The head markers positions play an important role here to implementation part. So the change state available in its control, M1 accept the string W. M1 will be accept the string W. So if the new state of M as recorded in its control, at the end the processing of W is a final state of M. So new state of M is recorded on its control. At the end of the processing, the given string W is in the final state of the M. So that is going to be true. That is further theorem says that if M1 is a single tape, that Turing machine simulate multi-tape Turing machine model, then the time taken by M1 is to simulate n moves of M is the order of n square. The order of n square will be required. That is for that order of n square is a big O of 1. That is a what we can say that best case complexity. So big O, that is a order of n square. So there is a 2 loops will be involved to perform this computation. So let M be the k tape of Turing machine. After M moves, the head marker of M1 will be separated by 2n cells or less. Lesser than the 2n cells is essential for the head marker of the machine M1 after M moves. At the worst, the one tape movement can be to the left by n cells, can be to the left up by n cells, and another can be to the right up by n cells. So both either left that always n cells. So n cells movement will be for the first tape. So in this case, what will happen? Tape head markers are separated by 2n cells. So the tape head markers, no? So that will be separated by 2n cells. 2n cells will be there. In other case, gap between them is less. So that lesser than the equal to 2n or less than the 2n cells will be there. To simulate the move of M, the Turing machine M1 must visit all the k head markers. To perform this, Turing machine model M1 should visit all the k head markers. If M starts with the leftmost head marker, then M1 will go through all the head markers by moving right at the most 2n cells at the most, so or less also, right? So the 2n cells towards the right side, it will be moved in order to make that all head markers. So theorem continues that to mirror these changes in each tape, M1 has it to move left by at most 2n cells. So at most 2n cells will be there, and to simulate changes in k tapes, it requires most two moves in the reverse direction for each tape. So at most 2 moves will be essential to come in the reverse direction for each tape. That is an mirroring or synthetically emulate that. Thus, the total number of moves by machine M1 for simulating one move of M is at most 4n plus 2k, right? 4n plus 2k. The maximum 4n 2k
is enough for this simulation. So further, that is a 2n moves to light for the locating all the head markers to the light of the that head markers, that is 2n plus 2k. So moves to the left. So sorry, this is a right, it is not light. 2n moves to right for the locating all the head markers. 2n plus 2k moves to the left for simulating the changes in the contents of the k taps. That 2n plus 2k move towards the left side and 2n moves to the right side. So that is the amount of movements will be required for the right and left side. So left side will be more and right side will be 2n. So the number of moves of machine M1 for simulating the moves of M, that is a n into 4n plus 2k, n into 4n plus 2k, that is. So as the constant k is a independent factor, right, independent of fn, the time taken by this machine is the order of n square, right. So the posterior prior analysis algorithm, so that is a best case timing complexity, that is order of n square, that is. So n into 4n, that is 4n square. So n into 4k, that 2nk, that is a less dominant factor. So n into 4n is a 4n square, that where that n square is the major contribution coming as the analysis of the prior analysis of the complexity as per the analysis of an algorithm. So that is the order of n square, that is. So non-deterministic Turing machine, that based on this the theorem going to be assessed here. So if M is a non-deterministic Turing machine, there is a deterministic Turing machine M1 such that T of M is equal to T of M1, right. So M is a deterministic one, and the M1 is a deterministic one and M is a non-deterministic one. So here we can have the multiple tapes, and the finite control going to be point to the several instantaneous descriptions. So that diagram going to be narrated here. So we construct a machine as a multi-tape Turing machine. Each symbol in that input strings had to the change in ID, instantaneous description. So M1 should be able to reach all instantaneous description. M1 going to be reached and stop when ID contain a final state is reached. So all IDs should be able to reach, that is, right, all IDs. So we have ID1, ID2, ID3 and so on, that is. So all IDs going to be reached and it stops when reach the final state. So the first tape is used to store IDs. The first tape here we store IDs and of M and sequence and also the state of the M, that is. So these IDs are separated by the symbol star, right. So you can here in between the IDs there is a star. So included is a tape symbol. So included is tape symbol. The current ID is known by marking X. Current ID going to be marking X along with the ID separator star. ID separator star will be there. So that symbol star marked with X is a new tape symbol. So new tape symbol going to be have, that is. All instantaneous description to the left of the current one have been explored already and so can be ignored subsequently. So since they have explored and in the subsequent step we can ignore them. So all IDs will be there, that is. So note that current ID is decided by current input symbol W. So current ID will help of the current input symbol going to be identify that. So to process the current ID, so the M1 performs the next steps. The machine M1 scans the state and the examined symbol of the current ID via knowledge of the moves of the machine M stored in the finite control of the M1. So machine M going to be stored in the finite control of the M1, that. So M1 verify whether the state in the current ID is a accepting state. M1 will be cross check whether it's the final state. In this case, what will happen? M1 accept. If it reach the accepting state, it will be accepted to stop simulating the YAM. So that is a crystal clear. When reach the final state, it will be accept and it will be stop it. If the state Q say the current ID XQAY, right? Current ID say XQAY is not accepting state of the M1, right? So if the input we are consider XQAY for this string, it is not accepting of the M1. So then delta of Q comma A as a K triples that is. So the M1 copies the ID XQAY, copies the ID that copies that is in the second tape, and makes the K copies of this ID. So second tape and makes the K copies this ID at the end of the subsequent IDs in tape 2. So the M1 modifies this K IDs in tape 2. These K IDs are modified according to the K choices given by delta Q comma A. For the K IDs, that K options are there. So machine 1 returns to marker, that is a ID, erases the mark X and marks the next ID separator star with X. Returns the mark ID, that is instantaneous description, erase the mark X, right? Returns and erase that mark X. So and marks that next ID separator with X to the star which is to left of the next ID to be processed. The star left portion going to be ID will be processed. If M1 goes back to step 1, what is that first step? M1 goes to the first step, that scanning and scan symbol going to be display with the knowledge of this the machine 1 finite control memory. So that goes to the step 1. M1 stops when accepting state of M is reached to the step 1. As soon as that reaches to the step 1, then it will be stop, that is. So that kind of mechanism will be performed, that is. So continuation of this theorem, that is for non-deterministic Turing machine. Now M1 accepts the inputs W only when it is able to determine the M has entered an accepting state. So M enters the accepting state, then M1 will accept the input string. That will be happening. Dependency will be after finite number of moves. So that finite number of moves will be. This is clear from the simulated sequence of the moves, that M1 ending in the step 1. So step 1 will be terminating remarkable states. We have to prove that machine 1 will fixedly, that is lastly, reach an accepting instantaneous description. So that is mean that ID having accepting state of machine M. If M enters the accepting state ID after n moves, so that machine 1 will eventually reach the accepting state if machine enters, that machine M enters the accepting state ID, that will be there. So let the M1 note that each move of M, so note that each move of M is simulated by several moves of the M1. So all moves are simulated by the M1. Let M be the maximum number of choice, that M has various Q comma, let us. So be the maximum number of choices will be there, that M has a various Q comma S, that is. So that's a maximum number of choice we observe, that is. So continuation of this. So for each initial ID of machine, there are at most M IDs. That is a small m. For machine M, that small m IDs that can be reached after one move. at most m square id that m can reach, right? So at most m square id is essential to reach after the two moves, that is right. So that one move that ids will be there, at most maximum m square id will be required. So corresponding to n moves of machine m, there are at most 1 plus m square plus m cube plus so on, that is m power n moves of machine m1, right? So that will go in m square, m cube, so on, that is. Hence the number of IDs to be explored by machine 1 is at most nm power n. So nm power m, that is. So n is a power, and m is the number of that will be go, that is, and altogether n power n, nm power n. Assume here machine explore these IDs. These IDs have tree structure with the initial ID as root, as its root. So then subsequent will be going leaf structure. So for which they are going to be exercise the breadth per search. So the depth wise, that is the breadth per search nodes will be their tree structure. That is at least level 1 are searched. Then the nodes at level 2, level 3, so on it will go level wise, that is. So m reaches the accepting final state id after n moves. Then m1 has to be searched at most nm power n, right? So nm power n IDs before reaching that accepting ID. So n that is n moves for the machine m, and nm power n IDs will be required to reach the accepting state. So if m accept the w, then m1 is also accept the stage w going to be considered. Hence the Turing machine m is equal to Turing machine m1 is proving, that is. The concept going to be elaborate, that is a relation between the that is called linear bound automata and context sensitive languages. So that the set of strings accepted by the non-deterministic LBA is the set of strings generated by the context sensitive grammars. So context sensitive grammars going to be generate, so that is a generate accepted by the non-deterministic linear bound automata. So that excluding the null string, that is. Now we can give an important results. If L is a context sensitive language, then L is accepted by the linear bounded automation. So L is a context sensitive language, it's going to be accepted by this linear bounded automata. The converse is also true. In other words, that the linear bound automata, the language are going to be accepted, that is also going to be accepted by the context free. The construction and proof of this similar to those Turing machines with some modifications. So converse is also true with a slight modification going to be achieved, that is. The Turing machine and type 0 grammar, so that we have in the respect of context sensitive grammar. In this section here, type 0 grammar generate the set of accepting by given Turing machine m, and productions are construction into two steps. Step 1 is the construct production which transfer the string, that is a q1 cw comma dollar into the strings that is a q2 b1. So we have that is a where q1 is initial and q2 is a accepting, and c is the left hand marker and s dollar sign is the right hand marker. The grammar obtained by applying the step 1 is called what is called transformational grammar. In the second step, we obtain that inverse production. Rules going to be exercised reversing the production of the transformational grammar to get a required type 0 grammar G. So the construction is in such a way that W is accepted by M if and only if W is in L of G, right? So L of G, that is a grammar. So that machine going to be accept, that is So from this discussion, so the relation of this linear bound automata and context sensitive grammar going to be achieved. That is, so having understood this, the context sensitive language, so that going to be productions of satisfying this slash, that slash will be, we have found symbol. So the context sensitive grammar, any generative grammar G is equal to A dash P productions in a context sensitive. So no empty productions allowed. Context sensitive languages. So the L context sensitive, if there is exist context sensitive grammar G such that either L is equal to L of G or L is equal to L of G, that is belongs to this empty set. So this is not E dash, this is a belonging symbol. So this belongings to, that is a empty set. So empty set going to be considered. So having understood this type of sensitive grammar, so you can see that the problem A power n, B power n, C power n. So that is a n power q, that is. So it's a context sensitive language, that grammar having production S implies ABC bar, A big A BC, and the following productions are going to be exercised at AB implies BA, AC implies big B small small cc, B big B implies big B, and A big B implies AA bar AAA. So having understood this, can exercise this A3 B3, that n is equal to 3. So here that n is equal to 3 is looking to be following, that is this is the not n power 3, this is n is equal to 3. So going to be discussed, that is the productions, the preliminary productions, the S implies ABC, sorry, S implies A big A BC. So this A we can replace with the small b, A we can replace with the small b, that, or AB we can replace with the BA, the AB we can replace with the BA. So that ABAC, continuation of this we can substitute those. So with the help of this grammar, this will be going to be grow AB and big B BC with the help of this production, that AC. So AC here, this production we can exercise here, it will become, and finally we can replace with the B, that will be complete production will be there. So this will be going to be B will be replaced with BA, then we will get A, that is by successfully exercising those productions we can obtain, that is AABB and AABBCC, and complete one we have AABBCC, that is ultimately we are going to be generate, that is 3 A's, 3 B's and 3 C's, because n is equal to 3 here. So we have to make it this n is equal to 3, so that 3 A's and 3 B's with 3 C's will going to be n list in this production, exercising the production to obtain the string, that is n is equal to 3. So that is a context sensitive language grammar, the narration going to be considered here. So we have followed the books called Ellen Rich Automata, Computability, Complexity by Pearson Education, and of course the most important book called Misra and Chandrasekhan, especially model 4 and 5 going to be covered, that is a third edition by Pentecostal of India. The additional books are as a reference book. One such book is called the Hopcroft, Motwani and Ullman, Introduction to Automata Theory by Pearson Education. And then also the added the information you can obtain by Michael Sipser, Introduction to the Theory of Computation. It is the Cengage the publisher of third edition. Of course, John Martin also contributed to express the material through the Introduction to the Language and Theory of Computation, the third edition, the Tata McGraw publications. So from this I hope we follow that variants of the Turing machine aspects we observed, and we have seen some problem solving and various concepts we have gone through to understand the variants of the Turing machine. So thank you once again for especially coordinator, moderator and subject expert having created this ambience to contribute through this video lecturing. Thank you once again. Thank you one and all.